I'm not the type to go snooping through my wife's stuff. Megan and I have been together for 10 years, married for 8, and I've always believed that trust is the foundation of a strong relationship. But something about this trip just felt off. It started with the suitcase. Megan stood in our bedroom, carefully folding her clothes into the rolling bag. Normal enough, right? Except she was packing lingerie, the delicate lace set I bought her for our anniversary. Now, I'm no expert in business attire, but I was pretty damn sure lace panties weren't required for a work conference. "You're packing fancy," I joked, leaning against the doorframe. She laughed, but there was something stiff about it. "You never know when you'll have a nice dinner." And then there was her hair, styled in soft waves instead of the usual messy bun. A spritz of her best perfume. Her makeup? Flawless. This wasn't just conference ready. This was date night ready. I ignored the nagging feeling twisting in my gut. Megan worked hard at her job, and maybe she just wanted to impress some bigwigs. Not everything had to be suspicious. So I kissed her goodbye, told her to have a great time, and I meant it, until I got the text. It was a random number. No name. Just one sentence that made my stomach drop. "Your wife isn't who you think she is. Check the guest list at the Palmer Hotel." I stared at my phone, the words burning into my brain. This had to be some kind of sick joke. A scam, right? But something inside me whispered, check. So I did. I pulled up the hotel's website, found the event registry, and typed in her name. Nothing.
No Megan Wilson.
No conference listing. No records of her even being booked at the Palmer Hotel. What the hell? My hands shook as I pulled up our shared calendar. Sure enough, her conference was blocked out for the entire week. But right underneath it, in faint text, was another entry I hadn't noticed before. A&M Special Project. A&M. It took me all of 5 seconds to figure out what the A stood for.
Adam Reeves.
Our son's PE teacher. I sat there, staring at my screen, my pulse pounding so hard I could feel it in my damn teeth.
Adam Reeves.
I should have seen it earlier. The way Megan smiled at him during parent-teacher conferences, how she suddenly took an interest in our son's gym class. Even when she dragged me to one of those stupid school fundraisers because Adam was hosting it, and it'd be nice to support him. But I dismissed it. Megan was friendly, too friendly, apparently. I needed proof. So I did something I'd never done before. I checked our phone records. It took less than a minute to find the pattern. Megan's calls and texts to Adam weren't just casual. They were frequent. Long calls late at night when she thought I was asleep. Texts every damn day. The worst part? Some of them lined up with times she told me she was too tired to talk. I felt sick. Still, I wasn't about to go in guns blazing. If I was going to confront her, I needed something solid. So I called her. She picked up on the second ring, her voice light, airy, guilty. "Hey, babe. How's everything back home?" "Good," I lied. "Just wanted to check in." "How's the conference?" A brief pause. Too brief. "It's great. Super informative. We had a really good speaker today about classroom management techniques." I clenched my jaw. Megan was a graphic designer. She didn't give a damn about classroom management. I forced myself to stay casual. "That sounds riveting. You at the hotel?" "Yeah. Just got back to my room." Another lie. I could hear background noise. Clinking glasses. Laughter. "Put me on video call," I said suddenly. Another pause. Longer this time. Jack. I just got out of the shower. I look a mess." She laughed. I exhaled slowly, gripping my phone so hard I thought I'd snap it in two. "Just want to see you," I said smoothly, playing dumb. "Come on, babe, for me?" A shuffle. A muffled voice in the background. And then, finally, the camera turned on. Megan smiled at me, propped up against the headboard. The room behind her looked generic. Could be any hotel. But I saw one thing that made my blood run cold. A shadow. Someone had just moved past the bed behind her. I forced a smile. "Miss you." "You too, babe," she said, her voice a little too eager. "Hey, I'm super tired. I'll call you in the morning. Okay?" "Yeah," I said, my stomach twisting. "Sleep well." I hung up before she could hear the anger in my voice. I needed more than just suspicions. I needed confirmation. So I made a call. Not to Megan. Not to Adam. To a friend of mine, a guy who worked private security. Logan, I said when he picked up. You still do those discreet jobs? Depends on what you need, he replied cautiously. I need a location on my wife. Now. Logan sighed. Jack, are you sure? I'm sure. All right, he muttered. Text me her number. Give me a few hours. I sent the info and waited. 2 hours later, Logan texted me back. Your wife isn't at the Palmer Hotel. She's checked into the Grandwood Inn. Room 214. And she's not alone. I sat there, my vision tunneling, my breathing too slow, too even. That wasn't the hotel where her conference was supposed to be. That was the hotel where Adam Reeves was staying. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I didn't do anything but sit in my dark living room, rereading that text until the words burned into my skull. Megan was in a hotel room with Adam Reeves. Confirmed. But that wasn't the part that kept me up all night. It was Logan's second text. Jack, you need to be careful. Adam isn't just messing with Megan. There are other parents involved. And one of them? She's not handling it well. I stared at the screen. What the hell? I texted back immediately. Other parents? Who? Still digging. But I'll tell you this. Someone already knows what he's been up to. And they aren't taking it lightly. A cold chill ran down my spine. I wasn't just dealing with a cheating wife. I was walking into a goddamn mess. I needed to see it for myself. So the next morning, I got in my car. And I drove to the Grandwood Inn. I parked across the street from the Grandwood Inn, gripping the steering wheel so hard my fingers ached. My heart was hammering in my chest, but my head? Cold, focused, ready. Megan was in room 214, with Adam Reeves. I had two options. Walk in there like a madman, fist swinging, and make the evening news. Gather everything I needed before I confronted her lying ass. I chose option 2. So I waited, and while I sat there, watching the hotel like a damn detective, my phone buzzed. Logan. I answered immediately. Jack, I got more info. You need to tread carefully. My grip on the phone tightened. What do you mean? Logan sighed. Adam isn't just screwing your wife. My stomach dropped. Come again. He's been fooling around with at least 3 other married women at your son's school. And here's the kicker. One of them? She found out last night. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. Megan wasn't just cheating. She was one of many. Who? I asked, my voice eerily calm. Logan hesitated. Rachel Evans. I swore under my breath. Rachel Evans. PTA supermom. Always first in line to volunteer. Married to Mark Evans. A guy built like a goddamn NFL linebacker. If Rachel knew, that meant Mark knew. How do you know she found out? I asked. Logan let out a dry chuckle. Because she lost her goddamn mind, Jack. She showed up at Adam's gym last night, screaming like a banshee. Apparently she'd hired a PI, got photos, texts, the whole package. She confronted Adam in front of half the school staff. Jesus, what happened? He managed to calm her down for now. Told her they needed to talk in private. I ran a hand down my face. Rachel was volatile, but Mark was dangerous. I had a feeling this wasn't over. And I was right. Because just as Logan finished speaking, a black SUV came screeching into the Grandwood Inn parking lot. The driver's side door slammed open, and out stepped Mark Evans. His face was stone cold, his hands clenched into fists. I barely had time to react before he was stalking toward the hotel. And I knew right then and there, this was about to go very, very bad. I barely had time to throw my car into park before Mark Evans was already storming toward the hotel. The man looked like a human wrecking ball, and I had a pretty solid guess about what was about to happen next. Mark, wait! I hissed, jogging after him. He didn't slow down. Didn't even acknowledge me. His fists were clenched so tight his knuckles had turned white. His broad shoulders heaved with every breath. I could practically feel the heat rolling off of him, like a man about to do something he couldn't take back. Mark, listen to me. I tried again. You don't want to do anything stupid. He whipped around so fast I nearly ran into him. Stay the hell out of this, Jack, he growled. Or I'll put you through the goddamn wall too. I held up my hands in surrender. Because yeah, I believed him. I had two options. Let Mark tear Adam apart and pray no one ended up in jail. Try to stop him and risk getting torn apart myself. Yeah. Not touching that. So I stood there. Helpless, furious, and wired with adrenaline. As Mark turned back toward room 214. And then, without hesitation, he kicked the damn door in. The sound was deafening. A splintering, crunching explosion of wood and metal that echoed down the hallway. And what I saw inside made my blood run cold. Megan and Adam were on the bed, half-dressed, sheets tangled around them. Megan's hair was a mess. Her makeup was smudged. The barely their bedsheet wrapped around her didn't leave much to the imagination. And Adam? He was grinning. That cocky, smug, punchable grin. Like he didn't give a damn that he'd just been caught. Like he wasn't about to be murdered where he sat. Megan let out a piercing scream as Mark charged. Adam barely had time to sit up before Mark grabbed him by the throat. You think you can screw my wife and get away with it? The whole room shook from the impact. Adam gasped, choking as Mark slammed him against the headboard. Mark, stop! Megan shrieked, scrambling off the bed, clutching the sheet to her chest. Mark wasn't listening. How many? He roared. How many other women have you screwed? Adam clawed at Mark's wrist, face turning red. I didn't. Mark reared back his massive fist and swung. Crack. Adam's head snapped to the side. Blood sprayed onto the sheets. He slumped forward, gasping for air. Megan lunged at Mark, eyes wild with panic. Stop it, she sobbed. Please. Mark shoved her away like she was nothing. You have no right to beg me for anything, he spat. Megan stumbled back, face pale. I finally snapped out of my daze and moved to grab Mark's arm. Mark, man, you gotta stop, I said. He's not worth it. Mark yanked away from me. Stay out of this, Jack. This son of a bitch ruined my marriage. Megan sobbed harder. Mark, please, let's talk. Mark laughed bitterly. Now you want to talk? He gestured wildly at Adam, who was cradling his busted face on the floor. Where was this energy when you were letting this piece of shit take my place in our bed? Megan's lip trembled. I didn't mean. You did mean it. Mark snapped. You chose this. And then his deadly gaze turned back to Adam. You have exactly 10 seconds to explain why I shouldn't end your miserable life.
Adam froze.
His breath hitched, and that's when I realized. He was terrified, because Mark wasn't bluffing. Adam Reeves was bleeding all over the motel floor. Megan was crying in a tangled bedsheet. Mark Evans, shaking with rage, standing over Adam like a goddamn executioner. You have exactly 10 seconds to explain why I shouldn't end your miserable life, Mark growled. Adam didn't move, didn't breathe. For the first time since I'd met the smug bastard, he actually looked scared. Mark, man, listen? Adam sputtered, trying to push himself up. Blood dripped from his busted lip onto the carpet. This isn't what you think, okay? I never meant for this to happen. Mark laughed. A deep, hollow, chilling laugh. That's funny, he said, because it looks like you meant every single second of it.
Adam flinchit.
Mark cracked his knuckles. 7 seconds left. Megan threw herself between them, sobbing. Mark, please stop, she begged. I was wrong. I was stupid. Please, don't do this. Mark's face twisted with disgust. You think I'm doing this because of you? He sneered. You think I'd fight over you? I'm doing this because this piece of shit thought he could screw over all of us and walk away laughing. Megan shrank back. She knew. She knew this wasn't just about her. And then I heard her voice. Jesus Christ. A chill ran down my spine. I turned. Rachel Evans was standing in the doorway. She wasn't looking at Mark. She wasn't even looking at Adam. She was staring dead at Megan. Rachel's eyes were glassy with betrayal. You too? She whispered. Megan's breath hitched. Rachel, smack. Rachel's hand cracked across Megan's face so hard it echoed. Megan stumbled back, clutching her cheek. I froze. Rachel was shaking. Her hands curled into fists. Her voice came out shattered, breathless. How long? She demanded. Megan didn't answer. Rachel stepped forward. How long, Megan? Megan's lip trembled. Rachel's face crumpled. Oh my God, she whispered. She laughed. But it wasn't a real laugh. It was that bitter, I've lost everything kind of laugh. You knew, she choked out. You knew he was screwing other women, and you still chose to be one of them. Megan started crying harder. Rachel, Rachel's expression hardened. You're worse than him, she spat. Adam. *** still on the floor, groaning in pain. *** lifted his head. Rachel. Baby, listen, I can. Rachel didn't even look at him. She turned to Mark. Move, she said coldly. Mark blinked. What? Rachel's entire body was shaking with rage. I said move. Mark actually took a step back. Rachel grabbed the closest thing she could find, a glass ashtray off the nightstand, and she hurled it at Adam's head. Crash. Adam barely ducked in time. The ashtray exploded against the wall. I jumped. Jesus Christ, Raquel. But Rachel wasn't done. She grabbed the lamp next. Adam scrambled backwards, hands up. Rachel. Ratch. Baby, stop. You think you can humiliate me? She shrieked. She threw the lamp. Adam rolled off the bed just in time. The lamp smashed into the dresser. Rachel, please, Shut the hell up, she screamed. Megan tried to grab her arm. Rachel, stop, you're gonna... Rachel turned on her so fast Megan flinched. Oh, now you care? Rachel snarled. Now you want to act like a good person. You were my friend, Megan. Megan covered her face, sobbing. Rachel's voice broke. I told you things, she whispered. I told you how much I loved him. And you... She let out a ragged breath. You sat there, smiling, while you were screwing him behind my back. Megan collapsed onto the bed, weeping. I had never seen anything like this. Rachel was past angry. She was destroyed. Mark crossed his arms. You think this is bad? Wait till the other women find out. Rachel whipped around. Other women? Mark smirked, looking straight at Adam. You didn't tell her, did you? He asked. Go ahead, Adam. Tell her how many others there were. Adam's face turned gray. Rachel's breath hitched. You said... She stopped, swallowing. You said there was only one. Adam licked his bloody lips. Rachel, How many? She screamed. Adam squeezed his eyes shut. 4. The room went silent. Rachel swayed. Megan covered her mouth in shock. Mark just let out a cold, bitter laugh. I looked at Adam, and for the first time in his miserable, cheating life, he actually looked sorry. Not just scared. Not just caught. Sorry. But it was too late. Because Rachel looked like she wanted to burn this entire motel to the ground. And Mark just cracked his knuckles. All right, Jack, he said. Now that we know the truth. His voice dropped dangerously low. How about we make sure he never does it again? I took a slow step back. Because one thing was clear. Adam Reeves might not walk out of this room alive. Adam Reeves was about 10 seconds away from a hospital visit. Mark Evans was cracking his knuckles like a man about to make sure Adam never cheated again. Rachel looked like she wanted to set the entire damn motel on fire. And Megan was just sobbing in a tangled bedsheet, covering her face like she could just disappear if she cried hard enough. Me? I was the only thing standing between Adam and an ambulance ride, and I wasn't sure I wanted to stop it. Mark, I said carefully, stepping between them. I get it. Trust me, I do. But you need to think about what happens next. Mark didn't even look at me. His eyes were locked on Adam. He didn't think about what happens next when he was screwing my wife, Mark muttered.
Adam Sdaloet.
And Mark, come on man, shut up.
Adam Filinchit.
Rachel suddenly let out a bitter laugh. Oh, now you're scared? She spat. Adam glanced at her, pleading. Rachel, please. Smack. Rachel's other hand cracked across his face. Adam stumbled back, dazed. I believed you, Rachel screamed. I gave you everything. I defended you when people called you a sleazeball. Megan flinched. Rachel's voice broke. You let me be the fool, she whispered. You let me fall in love with you when you were screwing my own damn friends. Megan let out a choked sob. Rachel turned, eyes wild. And you? She hissed at Megan. You're just as bad as him. You sat there, listening to me cry over this man, telling me how much he cared. While you were in bed with him, Megan broke down completely. Rachel, I never wanted to hurt you, Rachel lunged, grabbing a fistful of Megan's hair. Megan shrieked. Never wanted to hurt me? Rachel screamed. You destroyed me. Mark finally snapped out of his rage to pull Rachel back. Jesus, Raquel. I grabbed Megan, shoving her out of reach. You want to kill her? Rachel's body was shaking. If I wanted her dead, she snarled. She wouldn't be breathing right now. Megan curled up against the wall, sobbing. Rachel took a deep breath. A dangerous one. Then she turned back to Adam. Give me your phone, she demanded.
Adam Bilinket.
What? You heard me, she snapped. Give me your goddamn phone, Adam.
Adam hesitated.
And that was a big mistake. Because Mark, who was still full of unchecked rage, grabbed Adam by the front of his shirt and slammed him against the dresser. Give her the phone. Adam let out a choked gasp. With shaking hands, he reached into his pocket and pulled out his iPhone. Rachel snatched it. Her fingers flew across the screen. Her face twisted with pure disgust. Then, slowly, she turned the phone toward me and Mark, and we saw everything. Texts, videos, pictures. Adam had been recording himself, with every single woman he'd been with, including Megan, including Rachel. Mark's entire body went stiff. Oh my God, Rachel whispered. She scrolled, and kept scrolling. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, she kept repeating. Adam finally tried to move. Rachel, baby, please. Rachel lifted her head, and I swear to God, I saw murder in her eyes. She turned toward Megan. Did you know? She asked, her voice shaking. Megan didn't answer. Rachel's hands curled into fists. Did you know he was recording you? Megan's head snapped up. Her face drained of color. Wait, what? Rachel's breath hitched. You didn't know? Megan started shaking. No, he wouldn't. Rachel turned the phone back around and hit play. Megan's own voice filled the room. A video she didn't know existed. Megan collapsed.
No.
No, she sobbed. You son of a bitch. Adam wasn't smiling anymore. Mark looked at me. His entire demeanor changed. Jack, he said, his voice eerily calm. Give me one good reason why I shouldn't break his legs. I didn't have an answer, because at that moment, I kind of wanted to help him do it. Megan was on the floor, sobbing. Rachel was clutching Adam's phone like it was poison. Mark was deathly calm. And Adam finally understood just how deep in shit he was. Because this wasn't just about cheating anymore. This was illegal. This was recording women without their consent. This was a crime. And he knew it. Mark took a slow, measured step toward Adam. Who else has seen these? He asked. Adam, now shaking, licked his split lip. And no one. I swear. Mark grabbed him by the throat. You're lying, Mark snarled. Adam choked, struggling to break free. Mark. I stepped in, grabbing his arm. I get it. Trust me, I do. But if you kill him, he won't suffer the way he should. Mark hesitated. His chest heaved with rage. Adam coughed, gasping for air. And then Rachel moved. Without saying a word, She ripped the lamp off the nightstand and smashed it into Adam's ribs. Crack. Adam let out a strangled scream. Mark finally let go, letting Adam collapse to the floor, wheezing. That, Rachel hissed, was for ruining my life. She stood over him, her eyes red with fury. And this? She raised his phone, fingers shaking. This is going straight to the goddamn police. Adam's head snapped up, his bloody face filled with pure panic. Rachel, wait, but she was already walking out the door. Megan scrambled up. Rachel, wait! She lunged for her. Rachel whipped around. And before I could even process what was happening, Rachel punched Megan in the face. Megan crashed against the dresser, dazed. Rachel shook her hand out. That's for being a garbage human being, she spat. Megan whimpered, holding her jaw. Rachel turned back to Adam. You deserve worse than a broken rib, she said, voice like ice. But don't worry. I'll let the cops handle the rest.
Adam froze.
His entire body stiffened. And then, suddenly, he ran. I didn't even have time to react. Adam shoved past Rachel so hard she almost fell. Hey! Mark roared. But Adam was already bolting down the hallway, leaving a trail of blood behind him. I took off after him. So did Mark. I flew down the stairs as Adam burst through the lobby, shoving past a stunned desk clerk. Hey! Stop him! I yelled. No one did. Adam sprinted into the parking lot. I was right behind him. Mark was closing in. Adam lunged for his car door, but Mark tackled him onto the pavement. They hit the ground hard. Adam let out a strangled grunt as Mark slammed him onto his back. I ran up, panting. Mark was straddling Adam's chest, fists clenched. You really thought you were getting away? Mark roared.
Adam struglet, kafin.
Mark, don't, I gasped. If you beat the shit out of him here, you'll get arrested too. Mark was still shaking. His fists trembled. And then, finally, he let go. He stood up, towering over Adam. Adam lay gasping on the pavement, clutching his ribs. You run again, Mark muttered. And I will break your legs. Adam didn't move, didn't speak, because now, he knew it wasn't an empty threat. Behind us, Rachel came storming into the parking lot, holding Adam's phone. And right behind her, flashing red and blue lights, a police cruiser pulled into the lot. Rachel let out a shaky breath. Mark cracked his neck. Showtime.
Adam?
Adam went ghost white. He knew. It was over. The police cruiser rolled into the Grandwood Inn parking lot, its red and blue lights bathing everything in flashing neon. Adam Reeves lay crumpled on the pavement, gasping for breath. Rachel stood nearby, gripping his phone like a weapon, like proof of every disgusting thing he'd done. Mark was just standing over Adam, shaking with barely contained rage. And me? I just watched it all happen. Because finally, justice was about to hit Adam like a freight train. 2 cops stepped out of the cruiser. 1 male, 1 female. Both young, serious, and already assessing the scene like they'd walked into some backwoods brawl. The male officer, badge reading Officer Donahue, took one look at Adam bleeding on the ground and let out a sigh. You want to tell me what the hell is going on here? Rachel stepped forward immediately. Her voice was steady, controlled, cold. This man recorded multiple women without their consent, she said, holding up Adam's phone. I have proof. Videos, photos, text messages. The entire energy shifted. Officer Donahue's brows shot up. The female officer, Rodriguez, immediately stepped forward. You're saying he filmed us without our knowledge, Rachel snapped, then kept the files. Probably blackmail material. Megan let out a choked sob from behind me. The officers looked at her. Rodriguez's eyes narrowed. Ma'am, were you one of the victims? Megan's lip trembled. She nodded. Officer Donahue turned to Adam, his entire demeanor shifting from casual annoyance to something a lot more serious. Sir, I need you to stand up, he ordered. Adam didn't move. His breathing was shallow. His hands shook. Officer, I didn't. Rodriguez stepped forward, hand hovering over her cuffs. Get up.
Adam sdalo et.
And finally, slowly, he obeyed. Donahue took his arms behind his back. And just like that, the cuffs snapped shut. You are under arrest for unlawful surveillance and privacy violations, Donahue said. Anything you say can and will be used against you. Adam let out a strangled noise, like the reality was finally crushing him. Megan just sank onto the curb, burying her face in her hands. Rachel watched Adam get cuffed without blinking. Mark just smirked. Looks like you're finally getting what you deserve, he muttered. Adam whipped around, wild-eyed. This is your fault, he snapped. All of you. You set me up. Mark barked out a laugh. Oh, buddy, he grinned. You did that all by yourself. Officer Rodriguez shoved Adam toward the cruiser. And for the first time all night, I felt relief. It was over, and everything fell apart. Adam was charged. Turns out Rachel wasn't the only one who got videos off his phone. By the time the cops dug through his cloud backups, they found more than just a couple of recordings. He had files on at least 6 women. 6. Some were from our kids' school. Others? Random women he'd been with over the years. This wasn't an affair. This was a goddamn pattern. He was facing serious charges. At least 3 of the women pressed charges immediately. And Megan divorced my ass before I could divorce hers. I didn't fight her, didn't beg, didn't plead, because after everything, I didn't want her anymore. She tried to apologize. I was stupid, she whispered. I ruined everything. I didn't know he was like that, Jack, I swear. I just laughed and walked away. She got her half of the house, took our son with her. And me? I started over. Rachel filed for divorce too. I heard she took half of Mark's money and moved to Florida. Mark got full custody of their kids. Didn't even look back. Last I heard, he was dating a woman 10 years younger and living his best life. And Adam went to trial, lost everything. And last I heard, he was sitting in a jail cell, broke, with no one coming to visit him. I thought revenge would feel satisfying. But in the end, I just felt free. And sometimes that's enough.